I wanted to do a video about the politics of where we're leaving to and the politics of where we're going to the extent that I know them, of course, because I'm only a zone oneer. So mine is from a perspective of how they treat those of us who were not powerful enough to get to the big zones. My alliance, of course, is all newbies, and I'm a newbie. I ended up just taking charge after the Second War. So, and since I am a global thinker, I tried to figure out all of the details of what's coming next in order to help everyone come to understand and answer their questions when they came up. But right now, I want to discuss the fact that just today we entered Season 1, and the 8 kingdoms of our region entered together. So I wanted to take a look from the world perspective of what that means. So we are in the off-season kingdoms list because we have not fought our first KvK. And so we've entered Season 1 because we are about to have our first KvK battles. And you can see this is our kingdom here. And we used to have one of these tags as being the most powerful one of the two top most powerful kingdoms. The two top powerful kingdoms end up having these two tags. So I think a lot of people are drawn to being in the most powerful. We were this, and so was Holmfirth. And Holmfirth is where we're going, but we're not going because it was one of the top two. We're going because of I checked it out, I felt comfortable there, and I know a few people there that went there early on from our kingdom, and I'll talk about that in a separate video related to the politics of migration. So this is all of Season 1. The off-season is our region with the 8 that are going to be going to battle initially, and then the last 8 prior to ours are about to have their battles where they go into the Lost Kingdom. They're going to be doing it like we are, but they have already got their 4 set up where this is where their battles will be. They're going to each have one of these zones, and I imagine the battles are going to be right in these little areas that connect them. Now, I have not been in a kingdom versus kingdom battle yet, and I haven't even watched it yet in the one city that I put in a KvK because I'm just still getting to know the perspective from just an alliance that's a small alliance that just watches from the background. And I know I can participate to a small extent, but I just haven't chosen to because I've been having, first of all, I started my city from scratch, and second of all, I've just been having so much fun with the alliance itself that there hasn't really been a big motivation to. I do know a few members do go to the Lost Kingdom. I've only gotten to know one of them, and the other one doesn't seem to be around much in our alliance, probably because he's working with the king and all of the battles, which is starting to show up in our kingdom as well. So these are the ones that are in battle right now, and you'll notice they're in groups of 4 for these battles. They're not in these higher ones, these newer ones. There's just, it's going to be one kingdom against one kingdom and one kingdom against one kingdom. They're not creating their allies or forming their bonds to be matched together. Then later on in the season, you'll start seeing that the other zones are starting to come into contention, and you'll see where everyone gets assigned. And there's a lot of different things related to where you get assigned. A lot of people don't want to be in the corners. They want to be on the edges, and you can also see the sizes here of these territories. That probably relates to how much territory they've managed to grab, and I'm sure it's set up before each battle. The battles don't go one after the other. There's prep between them all. There's a lot of matching going on, and who's going to compete against whom and all of that, and who's going to work with whom. So here, this Zone 6, which looks pretty darn big, belongs to 2734 right here. And they're not considered one of the 2 biggest, yet their territory is the biggest. I don't think it's related to the prior battles between the kingdoms. I think it's related to certain goals you're supposed to make in preparation of a battle, because we get lots of emails about this is what we're trying to do right now. Sometimes it's not about, you want to be weaker rather than more powerful and that kind of thing, so that you can get one of the better locations, and that might be what's at play in these. Again, I am a newbie, so I'm still learning this, but I'm a newbie teaching newbies, so you're learning with me. So you can see how the other kingdom, or the other regions, have their play going on. It's the same kind of setup, as you can tell, the same kind of territory involved. So it's not about who grabs territory then, obviously, because they all look the same. But it's about, the assignment has to do with some other tests that you have to do as a kingdom to qualify for certain zones. So it is important to have a king who has experience and who's been to KvK before and knows all of the ropes, which of course in 2769 I believe that's the case. I just don't like the way he works, and I don't like the way the people that allied with him worked, even the ones that abandoned him in the end to make our kingdom weak, because like I said, we used to be one of the top two, and now we're not, even though a lot of big players have come over and a lot more will be coming over. So if I go back to that email, sorry, wrong tab, that email about entering Season 1, you will notice that it says immigration is possible between any of these kingdoms. So anyone in Season 1 can immigrate to another kingdom as long as they fit the passport or immigration requirements, which is the owning a passport page, having a 10-day difference between them. So like if I were to try to immigrate, now I've already immigrated this one, so I wouldn't be able to, the one I'm taking the video from, but I would have to see whether they were within the 10-day server age as mine. So my current are in the same region. Nope, that doesn't work. So actually no, same season immigration, you have to be in the same region. You didn't have to before, but now you do. Because we've entered Season 1. In pre-season, there were some migrating to another region, and they haven't even entered KvK yet. And then the Destination Kingdom is not currently participating in the Lost Kingdom event, so because they are in that Lost Kingdom list, they are already assigned and ready to start battle when it opens. So I couldn't go into those kingdoms at this time. But now also I can't go back into preparation season. We just entered Season 1, but prior to that, people were able to go back into these other regions before. So like someone from this region could go back to this region, as long as it's within the 10-day parameter. So that's what you need to keep in mind with migration, is your timing is important. But since we are migrating between two that are in the same region, we don't have issues, but open immigration is opening, from what I understand, in a little over 2 days, where they can go with bigger alliances coming in. So I am kind of anxious that we get everyone moved over here, and this is the kingdom we are going to. So I will cover in a separate video about the politics of our region, but I just wanted to let you know a little bit more about migration. It's complicated, but not really. It just involves a lot more steps, and then you have to know what the barriers are once you hit certain milestones, such as entering Season 1, which we have done. Later, I do believe people will be allowed to migrate between regions, but I think it just requires a lot more passports, and I also believe it involves permissions that right now are not required for us to migrate between the two kingdoms. So that is where we stand right now, and hopefully everyone is doing well, and I am wishing you Godspeed and signing off.